Hi, guys and gals, and welcome to this watercolor painting of May the 4th Be With You and Revenge of the 5th. Um, I do these pieces every year due to the fact of I am a huge Star Wars fan. Me and my boyfriend are huge Star Wars fans, and we both have our own interests and likes in the movie, but again, we're just in general huge Star Wars fans. We love every single movie. Um, and I mean, I've grew up with Star Wars basically all my life. I've seen all of the Star Wars from beginning to end as of concurrent. And I haven't seen the last two trilogy movies, which were the very, very original two trilogies that became the original series, and then the backstory, and then now it's the beginning of a new era for like new people, new children who are being introduced into the world of Star Wars. And I have to say, with Lucas, who made the story, really inspired a lot of people, and people have made a sort of a religion about this. And I'm not going to get into too much detail about it, but it's called Jediism, I think is how it's pronounced. But there's a whole scenario around it, and in reality, Star Wars is one of those things, like, it probably will never die. There are loads of people who love the story and franchise and love the way that, it tells this heroic story, and then you come to love these characters, whether they're good or evil. I'd have to say, out of the original series, my favorite characters were Princess Leia and Darth Vader. And that includes, of course, Anakin Skywalker. But I also enjoyed Padme as well. And then with the newer series, I have fell in love, and I mean this so heartedly, I have fell in love with Finn and Rey and the way that they're taking this. And then with the new Han Solo movie coming out May 25th, it's just like, ah! You're killing me. But getting down away from the talk of Star Wars, Star Wars is a beloved series by anybody. It is, I don't know, I would have to say one of the longest movies that I know for sure that's been like made, besides like Fast and the Furious, and a few others, I think. But I know like this one has been since like I think it was like 1970 was like when the first one was made. But like I grew up with this. My mom, my grandparents would always have these movies out whenever we wanted to watch it, and we watched it together as a family, and we loved it together as a family. And that's one thing I'm hoping, like in my near future of having children, that I'm hoping my children will love this movie series as much as I do, because I'm a space nerd. I will say that. I am a space nerd. I've said that so many times in all my videos, but I am a space nerd. I love anything and everything about space. And it is one of my dreams to, at least go into space one time to like see what it's all about. And, I probably will never get the chance to do that, but if I ever do, it'd be something I would like to see. But anyways, pulling aside from the introduction of Star Wars and about this piece is based off of the Star Wars movies, the franchise, the story, and since Disney had overtaken Star Wars, bought it out from Lucas and his company that made Star Wars. They took on a new take with it, and kind of went back and explained a little bit of what happened right before Anakin became Darth Vader, before he turned to the dark side. And then you finally get to meet his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, which is, oh my god, mind blowing. I haven't seen Rebels yet. It's one of the shows I'm trying to find where I can watch it without, having to pay to watch it, I guess would be the word. But I know eventually I'm going to have to pay to watch it, whether I like it or not. But besides that point, Ahsoka Tano has this amazing story of where she's a Padawan to Anakin, and then something leads him and her and Obi-Wan Kenobi to this planet of good versus evil and stuff about the whole situation. If you don't know anything about this, I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for you. But with the way that they did, Disney did the Disney version to Stormtroopers, brains off the fly, Clone Wars, it actually explained a lot that was confusing in the actual, like, the Clone War movie. And, I fell in love with Ahsoka Tano. I fell in love even more with Anakin Skywalker and Padme and how their story went. And it's just one of those things, it's like you just have to watch it to understand. But in the Clone Wars Disney version, they actually show the making of a Jedi lightsaber. The Padawans making their lightsabers using the Force to guide them on how to create their own lightsaber. And it was so fascinating to me that I wanted to create a piece dedicated to that. I didn't necessarily wanted to make it like a female-based character. I was trying to do a male character. It didn't turn out the way I wanted, so I was like, you know what? Just for this one time's sake, I'll just make another female character base for the Star Wars theme. Because I wanted a male character, but I also wanted a female character, and kind of have the female character in the background for the male character to be in front. But when I was trying to do that, it just wasn't turning out right, and so I went with this. I found pictures of meditation. I found pictures of Kaber crystals, I think is how you pronounce it, which are the little crystals that make the lightsaber become an actual lightsaber. And if you want to know more about that, I'm pretty sure you guys can find research about that on like how they're made and so on and so forth. And you can always go back and watch Clone Wars on Netflix if you have Netflix. There are 6 seasons of it. It is always hilarious because I got a bad feeling. That is like one of the most oversaid lines ever in Star Wars. But it just feels so right with it. But I wanted to create a piece initializing, a Padawan or, mainly a Padawan becoming, the Jedi. But whenever you are a Padawan, whenever you are making these lightsabers, eventually you have to choose light or dark. And if you give in to your hate and anger and anguish, you become a Sith. And so your Kyber crystal, from the color it was, changes to red. And you become part of the dark side. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with, in my opinion, becoming part of the dark side, because, we have cookies. But that's besides the point. But it's just, you see people go to the dark side, like with Anakin Skywalker. You see him go to the dark side, and his son pulled him before he died, or before he killed him. I can't remember exactly how that part went. Before he died, anyways. That Luke pulled his father Anakin away from the dark side, and he became one with the Force. He was no longer part of the dark. He let go of all his anger and all of his anguish and all of his, things that he had material love for. And I feel like with the way the Star Wars series goes is that it kind of initializes kind of like how our world is. We're just so, who put it as that? I can't remember. But basically, Material Girls. If you can remember the name, I can't remember who did that. I think it was Monroe who sang that song, or it was Madonna. I can't remember which one. I'm sorry if I forget. I wasn't born then. But anyways, this piece was created to make it like when they're choosing their crystals or going to find their crystals, and they have to soul search in themselves that, patience is a virtue, or being the first one in and the first one out is never, the right solution to go about it. And that's basically what these Padawans were learning. And so I created this piece in kind of representation of it, and I did it for May the 4th. I wasn't able to finish it yesterday, so I finished it today, and I'm sorry that this video is late. My monthly vlog will be late as well. I won't be able to get to that today. I'll have to wait till next week to do it. I had some things come up this week, and it just kind of blew up in my face. So I'm trying to get things sorted out. But in the making of this piece, this is my second watercolor piece, but this is my first watercolor piece actually dealing with human skin. And creating the skin, I kind of wanted like a red tone skin, like full on red tone, kind of like how Ahsoka's color is with her skin. It's kind of like this harsh red clay like we have here in Oklahoma. It's like this red clay mud, and it's just like this gorgeous vibrant red color. And that's kind of what I liked about Ahsoka. I liked that race, and so I kind of wanted to create that, but in a humanized version. I mean, I think she is human. I'm not sure how that is. I've tried looking up the races and the references and stuff like that, and I just kept getting nowhere with it. So maybe one of y'all know the race name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. That means I'm just gonna have to go back and watch some more Clone Wars, let me tell you. But I wanted her skin to be kind of like this red mud clay version of color skin. But since she was, kind of levitating or floating in a way, not like how they do whenever, crisscross applesauce and then their hands are like, oh. I wanted her hands outspread, and I hate the hands in this one. That's my worst enemy besides doing backgrounds is hands. I have so much trouble with hands, and I've practiced way in the past, and I kind of went away from my practicing, and now they kind of look funny sometimes, and sometimes they look okay. So it's something I'm still practicing, and I feel like next year, probably not this year, but next year for sure, I'm going to be starting a sketch journal, kind of like how I did this month, starting a bullet journal, and trying to keep myself on track, trying to keep myself, organized, and, write down what I know and stuff like that. So it's just something to keep me on track. But aside from that, I wanted her colors to be kind of, since she is meditating, since she is kind of floating, but she has kind of like this sad look to her of worry or doubt, or I guess something else that you can put to it, something that just kind of is disheartening to her. And I kind of put her up into the sky, or at least floating off the ground, but not doing crisscross applesauce, just kind of just floating there with the crystals around her. That was the look I was going for. I was going for a little bit more, but I just kind of stuck with this because it kind of stuck. And I did the whole, I started with her skin, and then I worked my way outwards from there, just so that way I knew I had the skin, the right tone I wanted, and the way that I wanted it to go. And this piece, it took me almost 5 hours to do. I worked on it so hard yesterday. I was sketching out pieces. I had 5 or 6 different pieces I sketched out, and then this one just kind of spoke to me, and I was like, well, it's still kind of plain, so I need to add some crystals to it. And I started looking up Kaber crystals, and that's what I came with. And I kind of wanted to do it half and half of Sith and the other one Jedi, and then I was like, no, let's just stick with making it a Padawan or a person that just started learning or something of the sort of the Jedi. And now her path has to be chosen for her by choosing her Kyber crystal, and that now depends on if she becomes a Jedi or a Sith later down in her future, whatever the Force may hold for her. And so I named this piece undoubtedly the choosing, because you don't choose the Kyber crystal. The Kyber crystal chooses you. And that's one thing I loved about watching Star Wars, the Clone Wars for the Disney version. It made so much more sense. It really did. And so her hair, I didn't completely complete it. I just kind of made it look like it was floating. I only did a few lines and a few things to kind of give her some oomph of, okay, this is her hair. But when painting her hair, I just kind of blended it in with the sky to kind of make it like it was floating and cloudy and, blending in like she was supposed to be blending in with the background. And, it worked until I got to like doing her body. And I was like, you know what? Just leave her body just sticking out there. Her hair, just the only thing needs to be blending in with the background. It looks cool that way. And so that's what I did. And instead of painting her, her tattoos or her finger painting of her markings, I kind of left those white. I did kind of like a blue brush over with it, but I just kind of blotted it out as much as I could without completely compromising the color. And so it's kind of like this faded out blue, and it looks really amazing. The colors with this, like I said, I wanted it to be kind of earthly tone colors. Her hair kind of needed to blend in with the background, and so I started playing around with the background and then going back to her hair and then going back to the background and then going back to her hair. So it was kind of a mess. But, I am happy with the results of the way this is. It's just so gorgeous. I'm loving my watercolors. This is my second piece fully taking in, using watercolors, and then finally being able to get to use every color of the freaking rainbow for my pearl colors was amazing. And I felt like it turned out so wonderful. I really do. But, again, this piece was supposed to be representing the choosing, which is, the Kyber crystal choosing the Jedi, the little Padawan, to becoming a Jedi master, and then somewhere along the lines be divided if their anger weighs more than their, goodness, and whether they'll become a Jedi or a Sith. And, I feel like that's one of the most important things about becoming a Jedi or becoming part in the Star Wars, is that, you have to make the choice. Are you going to be, this righteous person? Is the world going to turn cruel on you? Because the cruel world is so cruel that, sometimes people just can't take it anymore. And so they hate everything. They want to destroy everything. And so that's what becomes initially, they become the Sith that they always wanted to be, so that way they could take their anger and rage out on the world. And I feel like, Lucas has really brought that out in a lot of his storytelling with Star Wars, and then the other directors that overtook, his position whenever he kind of sold the rights and stuff like that. And the way that they did the directions and stuff for Star Wars is that, it's showing you that life isn't fair. It's showing you that, this world can be cruel, but, you can make it beautiful in some type of way. And I feel like I done it with this piece by showing that. And I'm hoping that is what is the result for you guys. So, that is all I wanted to talk about today about this piece. So, that is the end of this video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this watercolor speed paint time-lapse thing. I really enjoyed making this piece, and for this being my technically my second piece, but my technical first piece for painting skin and the human composition and stuff like that, and then trying to get my line work down. I feel like I've done so much work with this. It took me 5 hours to do, which, you know, if I was doing this digitally, it would probably took me like longer than that. But after doing this, I feel very pleased with myself, and I feel like this is something I can, you know, sell to the world to, you know, have in their own home. And it's just so beautifully composed, as well as the story for, you know, how Padawans become Jedis and stuff like that. So again, this brings us to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, as it shows me your support. Also, all my social links are down below where you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, Twitch, and soon, very, very, very soon, I'm getting ready to set a date for my store opening on Redbubble, and I am super excited about doing that. I am so excited to finally get this started. And this will be one of the pieces soon up in my art shop that you guys can purchase from me of prints. As soon as I get the details and the date up, I will let you guys know on Twitter when my store is open, and I will make an announcement as well on YouTube and Instagram that my store has opened. So keep a lookout for that. Anyways, again, thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. I upload videos every Wednesday and Thursday after streams. I got a new Xbox, so I will be streaming this week coming up. And I upload YouTube videos every Friday, though this may change soon. We'll see. I'm still kind of working out some kinks of revamping my channel and stuff. So details later down the road in a different video. Other than that, again, for the third time, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay batty, and may the 4th be with you.